friends, it's Carly. How are you? How is your day going? I'm having a lovely day. Thank you so much for asking. I appreciate that. I am in my morning time. I've only been up for a few hours, and I just had a super fun conversation with Dolly where this happens all the time, where like our energetic realizations, I guess I want to say, kind of line up, where like we each are having like similar epiphanies separately, and then we'll be having some random conversation and share like, oh my gosh, that just happened to me yesterday and I realized blah blah blah, and like, oh my gosh, I just had that happen to me yesterday and I realized blah blah blah. So within the last couple days, we both had the exact same experience and realized the exact same takeaway. And for the first time, I got the impulse to like come in here and make an episode out of this this picture of like, here's what happened for both of us and here was the takeaway, and see if you guys are having the same experience, you know? Like like is it just me and Dolly? Like, are we synced up in some weird way? Or because I'm also looking at it, obviously, through the lens of astrology, and I've been having similar realizations, like in different forms and different experiences over the last several months. And it's gotten really poignant here in the last couple weeks. And that's like super interesting because of the exaggerated Taurus energy that has kind of come online in these last couple weeks with Mercury moving in and then the sun moving in just within the last few days. I'm recording this on April 24th, I think it is. Yep. Sunday, April 24th, 2022, 8:19 a.m. in Central Time, Kansas. Thank you. Anyways, so this picture that I want to paint for you guys of like what happened to both of us. So have you ever been going along in your day and you're trying to wrap something up, like you're working on something that you're into, and like you're in the middle of this task, and then all of a sudden you realize like, I really have to go to the bathroom. Like maybe I already had to go to the bathroom for a while, and this is like the alert level like kicking itself up a notch, being like, no, no, like we really have to go to the bathroom. And that your natural impulse is to like put it off still and like get done what it is that you're working on and whatever it is that you're getting done, and like put off going to the bathroom. And so this happened to me a couple days ago. I was editing a video and I was getting close to the end, but I probably still had like 20 or 30 minutes left to work on this, and I had to go to the bathroom, and I just kept working. I just kept editing and kept going, kept going, kept going, and kept saying like, you know, like without even really meaning to or knowing that you're doing it, like, I'll go in a second. I'll go in a second. And then it's like 5 minutes later. And now it's 10 minutes later. And like, then it's like painful because you have to go so bad. And like where I'm sitting, I'm literally like 8 steps from the toilet. It's not like I have to go hike 3 miles to like use a bathroom. It's going to be an hour ordeal. It's like within 60 seconds, I could probably go relieve myself, find that relief, take care of this need of my body, and be back to doing what I'm doing. Like it would literally cost me 60 seconds of my time. And instead of pausing what I'm doing and going and addressing my comfort, I was powering through the work task and trying to get done the piece that I was trying to get done. And there was a certain point where like the cost benefit analysis, if you will, the suffering of holding my pee compared to the gain of like getting this work thing done, it like all kind of came together in this moment of like, what even am I doing here? Like kind of a philosophical type question, like what is the meaning of life? Because here I am promoting my own suffering to do this thing that I'm doing because it's fun and I enjoy it. And yet, because I'm ignoring my body in the process, I'm actually like not enjoying it because I'm like miserable because I have to pee so bad. So, like, at that point, I just was like, what the fuck? Like, how has this equation? It's like 2 + 2 = 6. No, it doesn't. And yet I've kind of been operating like that. So, in that moment of realizing, like, that's really dumb that I'm doing this because I enjoy it. And yet, in the ignoring of my body, I'm not enjoying it. So, I like take my laptop, sit it to the side, and go to the bathroom. And like since then, that's just like one example. Dolly's example, she had that same experience a couple days ago where like she was journaling and trying to like get this thought out and like really wanted to like write this down. And then she sees like her handwriting is getting really sloppy and she's like kind of getting impatient with like how long it's taking to tell the story. So like it's not even fun anymore because she's trying to hurry because she has to pee. And instead of just like, same thing, getting up and walking 8 steps to go to the bathroom, like you're trying to finish the thing that you're doing. And like that whole principle of like, what are you doing? Like, what is the point of any of that? It's bizarre. And so what brought all of this to a head was yesterday. Uh, she was at the grocery store and at work, and there was another manager, closing manager, who was there, and the other manager had changed the music. And after a while, was all Dolly had said, like she just couldn't take it anymore and like went up there. It was like kind of like heavy metal type music, which is not appropriate for the grocery store, in my opinion, either. And the music in general was like very depressing and heavy to Dolly, and it was just like really aggravating her nervous system. And eventually she like marches up to the front and doesn't say anything to the other girl because she's with a customer, and the other girl can like feel her aura. It's like shooting darts at her, and she's like looking at Dolly like, what is it? What do you want? Do you need something? And Dolly's like, finish with your customer, like, and then we'll talk. So the other manager is like still kind of looking at her and finishes with her customer. And then Dolly's like, yeah, I mean, we need to come to a compromise on this music. Like, let's change it. And so, like, basically, where we came around full circle was talking about that aura communication and how, like, when you allow yourself to become really uncomfortable, she didn't have to say a word to the other manager for the other manager to be able to feel the level of discomfort that was present in Dolly's energy. And basically, what I said was like, you know, chances are, if you had gone up there at the first sign of discomfort, like the very first song that you heard that, like, okay, this is not okay, like in the first 10 seconds of hearing that music, if you had just gone up to the front and been like, hey, you know, actually, can we change it off of this? Can we pick a different playlist? Like, no big deal, thanks. And like go back to the meat department, no big deal. And that's when she was like, yeah, but I was in the middle of cutting something. And I was like, I'll finish this and then I'll go say something to her. And that task, it took 3 songs and she didn't finish the task. And by the third song, she basically snapped and was like, we have got to get this music off of there. And that led to the intensity that she took up to the front with her. And the other girl's like, what? Because she could feel. So it's like, wow, like 7 minutes, like by the third song, right? Like 6 or 7 minutes of this uncomfortable stimuli. And she was like, her entire nervous system was basically shot. And at that point, like, then she's got to recover. She's got to like go back there and calm herself back down and like take some deep breaths and like get your shit untangled now that it got all tangled up. And same with the sitting here for 20 minutes like having to pee when all it would take is like 60 seconds to go and take care of this thing that allows me to be comfortable inside my moment. And so the whole thing has me thinking about how we prioritize our comfort, how we prioritize listening to ourselves and listening to our body and catering to like what is our body asking for from us. And when, because like Dolly was like, she does the same thing with like, she, you know, needs to blow her nose, but she's got to do this real quick and then she'll go blow it. And then it's like 30 minutes later and then she's totally frustrated and like strung out because she's so annoyed that like her nose is running. And it's like, yeah, but if you would have just stopped and spent 30 seconds to go and deal with the bodily condition as it is, address it as soon as it becomes a thing, it wouldn't be adding the extra weight of discomfort onto that experience. And I think it's when we allow bodily discomfort to build up over long periods of time, we just tolerate being uncomfortable, that's when we're inviting things like sickness or chronic headaches, chronic fatigue. Our body starts to like actually give out on us because we aren't taking good care of it. We aren't acknowledging that it even exists. Like in that moment when I have to pee for 20 minutes and I don't go because I have to finish this work thing, like, why? Who made up that rule? Where in the fuck did that even come from? And why am I still operating on that? I'm slowly but surely unraveling that conditioning that says like my body is basically a second class citizen to whatever my brain wants to be doing in this moment. And that if my brain wants something different, the body's just gonna have to fucking wait. And it's like, yeah, it doesn't really work like that. Like I've used that philosophy on my car and on my gas tank, and I've run out of gas 3 separate times. And I can tell you that when you run out of gas, there is no going again until you get some gas. And that's a really stressful moment, so much more stressful than it needs to be. And I do that to myself like on a regular basis. So yeah, I just wanted to share a little word picture around how well are we listening to our body? And Taurus is all about our body. It's basically rules our inner animal, our inner instincts. I'll put a video in the description for um, a video that I did a while ago on the Taurus archetype if you're interested in exploring how this energy works and how like we are all 12 of the zodiac archetypes, meaning like we all have a Taurus facet to our personality. We all have an inner animal that gives us instincts and preferences and helps us to feel for ourselves individually what's comfortable. Like for example, like the one manager puts on that playlist because that is what makes her feel comfortable. Meanwhile, it's having Dolly crawling up the walls back there because it's making her feel uncomfortable. So at that point, like that's got to be such a common situation, like whether we're at work or at home or, dealing with people in general, there's this balance of like, how do we balance our own individual comfort, which is not negotiable between us and ourselves. Like Dolly couldn't talk herself out of being like undone by that music. Like it just was what it was. And either she's going to sit there and listen to it and continue to be unraveled, or we're going to have to go and deal with this other person and find a balance of like diplomacy and harmony and compromise within this relationship that I do value and want to respect the other person. But I also have to respect and value and honor myself and acknowledge that like this current circumstance is not viable for me, period. So we will have to come off of this current circumstance and find a compromise between the two of us. And the other manager was extremely agreeable, was like, oh yeah, totally, 80s rock, let me go change it. And changes the playlist and they're golden for the rest of the day. So there there wasn't an issue, there wasn't an obstacle in the outside world of Dolly correcting this discomfort other than her granting herself the time and space to address it. She was trying to finish cutting the thing that she was cutting, and within 6 minutes she like couldn't take it anymore and has to like go ahead and put the knife down at that point, still not finishing the task, which I think is just amazing. Like that's the whole point of like, same with editing my video. I didn't even get to the end before I was like, what's the point of like finishing the thing if I'm going to be miserable while I'm doing it? Like, and at that point, what if instead of even at the very first sign of the music, the first 10 seconds, instead of saying like, well, let me finish this task and then I'll go deal with the uncomfortable thing, put the knife down in the first place, go deal with the discomfort, and then come back and finish the task in peace and in ease and in comfort. Like I released a video here not too long ago on my YouTube channel talking about Taurus and this energy that we have, and how Taurus is sextiling this energy that we have in Pisces, and there's just such rich opportunity for inner peace. But inner peace is something that we grant to ourselves. Comfort and ease are things that we grant to ourselves. There is no fairy that shows up one day and like waves a magic wand and taps you on the forehead and says, now your life is easy. It's like if you feel the urge to go to the bathroom and you put it off for an hour, your life is difficult, period. It's more difficult than it needs to be, I guess I should say. It's more difficult than it would be if you were allowing it to be easier. And so this is something that, like, as a Taurus rising, as a Taurus Jupiter, with the North Node making its transit through Taurus until July of next year, this is something that has been on my mind pretty heavily, like just as a general rule of like, how does life work? What is the point of life? And I really do genuinely believe that the point of life is to enjoy it. And these little body, I see even in my mentality, like these little body things, like they're not little. That's basically the takeaway, is like they matter a lot. And it's to the degree that we let them be the most important, I think, is again a factor of how easy our life is. When we feel a discomfort and we pause instantly to address it, our life becomes easy. Our life becomes a natural flow of well-being from one moment to the next because our body is communicating in real time exactly what it needs from us. And I know me, for one, and Dolly, obviously, like in this synchronistic conversation we had this morning, that like I could stand to prioritize my body's needs just a little bit more, and it's not about being perfect, but it's like, how can I 1% more today listen to my body than I normally do? Like just even 1% more. Like wake up 5 minutes sooner in the realization that like I do need to go to the bathroom. Like I need to go. So instead of putting it off for 5 minutes, let me just go now and then resume this enjoyable, pleasurable, comfortable life that I am living where my bodily needs are met. I'm content. I don't need anything because I've taken care of it all. It's not like I'm fancy and like, oh, I don't need anything because I've transcended like humanness. No, I don't need anything because as soon as I need it, I take care of it. As soon as I need something, I address it. And then I go back to not needing anything. I go back to being content and at peace. Am I perfect? No. 2 days ago, I was holding my pee for like 25 minutes because I was finishing this cool video editing that was so much fun. And I was uncomfortable while I was doing it. Like I still get out of whack on my priorities, basically. But moments of clarity like this morning in the conversation with Dolly and now relaying the points back to you all, it has definitely, just shined a brighter light on this pattern in my humanness and helping me to 1%, 1 millimeter a day, lean in the direction of more ease, more peace, more well-being. So I think that's an okay place to leave this. Thank you so much for listening. I would love to hear your thoughts and your experiences with listening to your body and meeting your body's needs and taking them seriously in real time as your body's communicating with you. I would love to hear your experience of how that goes in your world, or if you have any helpful tips or tricks or anything like that. Thank you so much for sharing them with me and everyone else that's here in this energetic space. And until next time, dear friends, you take such good care of yourselves, your mind, your body, your soul, and so will I.